Good evening, and I'd like to call the Select Board meeting to order on December 5th, 2023 at 6 o'clock in the chambers. Roll call, please.
Teresa A. Moss, present.
Joe Shank, present.
Chaz Sexton-Duranian present. Because we do have one member that is on Zoom, we need to, all our votes need to be roll call, please. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And I want to thank all our members that have been in service for our country, both past and present, and our first responders. This meeting is being recorded and it will be uploaded to YouTube when it's been processed by our wonderful TCAM. Thank you very much for all your help, TCAM. Chairman's additions and deletions. Did we want to do?
We're going to add the
fire?
surplus, the fire surplus, yes.
So I would like to add the fire surplus, and we can do it at 4.7. And Teresa, we can talk about exactly what it is, okay? So you're aware of what we're talking about. You're okay with that?
Yes, I am, Chad.
Okay. And I think that's it. Do you have anything?
No, I didn't. Did you?
Yeah, I got it. I printed it out.
And Joe? Do you have
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. So we do have a public hearing at 6:10, but I'd like to jump down to Section 3, appointments of officials. For 3.1, I'd entertain a motion to appoint Dave Fignoli as registrar effective December 5th, 2023, with a start date of December 6th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
Okay. All those in favor?
Teresa A. Moss, yes.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton-Duranian, yes. Welcome, Dave. Thank you very much for stepping up. 3.2, I'd like to entertain a motion to appoint Jonathan Moore to the position of on-call lieutenant EMT basic effective 12/5/2023.
So moved. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, that's okay. So moved.
Second.
And second, this is a promotion, Teresa?
Yep.
Any discussion?
No.
No? All those in favor?
Teresa A. Moss, yes.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton-Duranian, yes. All right. Congratulations, Jonathan. 3.3, I'll entertain a motion to appoint David Stevens to the position of on-call captain effective 12/5/23.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? This is also a promotion.
I'm good.
You're good, Teresa?
I'm fine, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All those in favor?
Teresa A. Moss, yes.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton-Duranian, yes. So congratulations, David. Let's see. What? The flag policy, is that going to be a long discussion? I don't think it's going to be.
I don't think so.
Okay, so why don't we jump down, Teresa, to 4.4, the review and approve the flag policy. This is what we talked about in our last meeting. In regards to, this is something that town council submitted.
Yeah, so this is something that town council had drafted, and I kind of reviewed and amended a little bit for Townsend, that we discussed at the last hearing, the proposed, just by a very brief way, for anyone who wasn't watching the last Board of Selectmen meeting, There was a recent ruling about the use of flagpoles and municipal flagpoles as a public speech. And if a town allows the use of a public flagpole for any outside organization, they basically have to let any other outside organization that wants to use that flagpole as well. And it can't discriminate based on the content of the speech. And so in an effort to prevent any kind of claims that the town is allowing their flagpoles to be used in that manner, which Townsend doesn't. Town council has just drafted a very brief policy, and if you'd like, I'll read it if that's okay with you, Chaz. This policy provides guidelines for the towns flying or presenting on town of Townsend-owned properties the flag of the United States of America, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, as well as other flags deemed appropriate by the town for parades, holidays, and other events and celebrations. The choice by the town of which flag to raise on town-owned properties is hereby declared to be government speech, communicating a message to the public to which the strictures of the First Amendment do not apply. The town presently does not, nor does not intend to designate the flying of flags on town-owned property as a public forum by permitting a non-governmental party to raise a particular flag. Accordingly, it is the town's choice, acting by and through the select board, of whether to raise or decline to raise a flag on town properties. A flag on town-owned properties. The manner in which such decision is made and the adoption of this policy shall not be interpreted as designating any town-owned properties as a public forum for flying of flags. Policy says, number one, the select board or the town administrator as its designee shall ensure the proper execution of this policy as it may be amended in the future by the select board in its sole discretion. Number two, the flying or presentation of flags other than the ones stated above, such as ceremonial flags, are not intended to create or serve as a forum for free expression by the public as stated above. And number three, nothing in this policy shall be construed to restrict or in any way limit the display of flags displayed on privately held cemetery plots consistent with cemetery regulations.
Any discussion?
Yes, Chaz, I have some discussion on it.
Sure.
So I just want some clarity because I have had some questions on clarity on one piece of property. If a flag, and I'm not even clear if the flags are, but if a flag is flown at the library, is there an impact? Do they have a flag? Like, if the person that directed this to me said that should come under the library board of directors and it shouldn't come under this policy. And I was like, I can't even picture a flag there. But anyways, can you help me work through that, please?
Well, so the exterior of that structure is a town-owned property. So it's controlled by the town, and the library has the portion of the structure, and the Council on Aging has another portion of the interior of the structure. I do not believe there is a flagpole at that site.
Okay.
But anything on the exterior of the structure is within the control of the town. It's our building. And I would say
keep them from putting something on a window or anything like that. It's just on a flagpole if they have a flagpole.
that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
This is just talking about flagpoles, yes.
Joe?
I'm good.
Okay, so I would like to designate this as the first reading, and I'd like to put this on our first meeting agenda in January for the final reading. So if either of you have any adjustments or comments in regards to what we read tonight, make sure you give it to Eric by the meeting so that we can make changes or discuss changes. And then if there's no changes and we do agree at that particular time, then we can vote it into policy. Yes?
Yes.
I agree.
All right.
That took exactly 5 minutes.
How about that? Okay, so what I would like to do at this point is, it is 6:10. I'd like to go to agenda item 2.1, which is the public hearing. And this is a determination of percentages of local tax levy. I do want to say that I want to open the public hearing and read the public hearing notice. The Board of Selectmen will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, December 5th, 2023 at 6:10 PM in the Selectmen's Chambers, 272 Main Street, Townsend, Massachusetts, for the purpose of determining the percentages of the local tax levy to be I gotta clean those. To be borne by each class of property for the fiscal year 2024. This hearing is in compliance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 56. Alternatively, the public may access the meeting via the following Zoom link, and we publish the Zoom link with a meeting ID. Interested taxpayers may present verbal or written comments prior to or during the hearing. Did we have any prior to comments?
We didn't receive any.
No, we didn't receive any. Sabrina, you didn't receive any? Okay. And I guess we will consider that this is open.
Thank you for the presentation.
So where do we go from here?
Chairman speaking. Okay, good evening. So municipalities with large commercial industrial tax base often see fit to shift the tax burden to help maintain lower residential taxes. Given towns and small commercial and industrial base, it would take a large shift in our commercial industrial taxes to yield a modest residential reduction. To reduce the residential rate by only 50 cents, the commercial industrial rate would be increased by $6.05 per thousand. So we are recommending to the Board of Selectmen to adopt a residential shift factor of 1. And this will allow all classes of property to be taxed at the same rate.
So I think now we just ask if there's anybody from the public that would like to speak for or against this.
Okay. Any public comment that's on this? I don't see anybody here in Zoom.
We're clicked out. The participant says 3 of them, right? But we don't see who they are.
That's
This
us.
is us, this is the three that's
Oh,
on screen.
just us?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it?
Nobody else.
It's a very lonely spot.
It's getting lonely.
Yeah, right?
So this would be, the single tax rate would be $14.41.
Well, that's not certified yet. No.
That's not certified. Okay.
So we would just vote on it
We're
then.
just voting on the rate, the shift factor.
The shift factor, yeah,
So the shift factor is what?
One.
1.
For both residential and commercial?
Well, it's
just one
the
rate
shift
for
factor.
everybody.
One shift factor.
Just one rate for everybody.
Yeah.
So I'll entertain a motion.
Well, I think first we need to close the public hearing.
Oh, then we vote on the comment.
Yeah.
Okay, see, we should have talked about this.
We do this so infrequently.
I know. I used to do it on the planning board all the time. All right, so if there's no other comment, any comment from anybody here, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Teresa Moore, yes.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes. So we are closed. And now I'll entertain a motion to accept the percentage of local tax levy for a shift factor of 1.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. First
Yeah,
of all,
sure.
I want to thank the tax planning, all the people involved in setting this shift factor. I get constant people coming to me saying, why isn't commercial the same? If you raise commercial, people are going to leave, and they're not going to leave, and people coming back and forth. It's a conversation that I've heard 100 times, and I constantly go back to what you say, that there's not enough commercial to make a difference by increasing on that. And I appreciate you making that public during the public session of this, and supporting that we keep residential and commercial consistent.
I'm good.
All righty. All those in favor?
Teresa Moore, yes.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes. The tax levy is set.
Thank you guys for doing a
Ladies,
good
thank you
job.
very
And
much.
they don't have to sign anymore. It used to be the selectmen had to sign off on the LA5, but they don't
Yeah,
have to anymore,
and
so.
Kathy doesn't need to,
Well, she has to click off on something after this, so
Okay.
Sean one will.
I'll let her know.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. Thank you.
All right.
All right,
Awesome.
thank you very much. Bye, Jody.
There it is.
Thank you, guys.
All right, got plenty of time here. I do want to jump up to 1.5 and say there is no meeting minutes to approve. So we're gonna jump back down to 4.2, setting of 2024 town.
Don't we need to do 4.1 first, right?
We just did.
Did we set the Board of Selectmen meeting dates?
That's right.
Oh, I checked the
Nope.
wrong.
Yeah, we did 4.4.
So 4.1, setting the Board of Selectmen meeting dates from January 2024 to June 2024. So, yes, I said it wrong, but that's what I wanted to do. Was it right church, wrong pew? Is that how it goes? All right. So,
All right, so we already know that January 9th was going to be the first meeting in January.
correct.
So we want to have the second one 2 weeks later on the 23rd. There are 5. It's a good, we'd still have, yeah, I think we should do that because then there's still a 5th Tuesday, so it'll still be 2 weeks before the beginning of the first meeting in
Yes,
February.
now, the goal, I thought, and Eric and I talked about it, is that if we just had not have a second meeting in December, just use this, go through the holidays, and then in January, we can do the 9th and the 23rd, and if we need to add an extra one, we can do it on that 5th week in January if we need to, which I don't think we really need to, but just understand that the 9th is gonna be probably a packed meeting. You know, we're gonna have a lot of stuff that we're gonna need to do,
And I'll be zooming in.
and you'll be zooming in.
I'll be zooming in.
And you're okay with that, Teresa?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, so and you're okay with just the two meetings for now, and if we need to add it, we can add it?
Yes,
Okay,
Chad.
all right. And if you're all set, I'm good with that. On February is also, and February is a short month too, so that kind of made up for
Yeah,
that. So having the 6th and the 20th, I don't think that's an issue either.
yeah, I think that would be fine.
March and April, same, May, same,
Yeah, so March, that would be the 5th and the 19th.
yeah.
April, we're talking about the 2nd and the 16th.
Mhm.
Can we hold on that one for 1 second?
And what, April?
And then in May, yeah, so regardless of what we do in April, in May, the 7th is annual town meeting.
Okay.
In April.
In May,
Okay.
May 7th is annual town meeting.
Elections are the 20-something.
Yeah, the elections are, it might be the 23rd.
23rd or something.
So I think the other, we should do one on the 21st in May as well.
Yes.
And then June, like the 4th and the 18th, just. Do you need more time on April?
I think I'm good. I just wanted to double check. I think trying to find my dates that I'm in Iceland, but
It's relevant, we just zoom in.
It's very icy.
what were the dates for April again?
It would be April 2nd and April 16th.
Okay, yep, that's what I thought. They were good. Okay, yep.
As long as they're not at the mall. Because they hear the
Wi-Fi's bad at the mall.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess Do you want us to vote on these?
Do you remember we voted on the last
Did we
year?
vote on them?
I think you just okay.
I think we just
we
okayed
were
them.
just okay, and because we set them in the agendas,
Yeah.
but we'll just put it on the calendar so we know what those days are.
I'm good with it. We're all good with it? We can go.
Oh, good.
Right. To setting of 2024 town holiday schedule. Is all our birthdays on there now?
Sure.
Um, These are all from the state too, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. They've got 3 years on them. Actually makes it pretty easy, doesn't it? I just didn't think we just have to agree with this, right? These are all in line with, our unions and stuff, right? All
Yeah, I
these, so-
mean, I think the only ones that are tricky are, and I don't think it's tricky, it just gets to be confusing, are Veterans Day and Christmas. New Year's Day is on a Sunday, so we'd celebrate that on Monday. And then Veterans Day is on a Saturday. So we would celebrate that on Friday.
Okay,
And then Christmas is on Monday next year, so that's not a big deal.
that's not.
So it's just Veterans Day, just clear that the town hall would be, even though Veterans Day is on Saturday, town hall would be closed on that Friday.
And again, this is, we just need to approve it.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm good.
I'm sorry, Eric, did you say on the Friday or on the Monday?
Friday, because the holiday's on Saturday, we would celebrate on Friday, and then the following year, if the holiday's on Sunday, we'd celebrate it on Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Are you good with that?
Yes, I am, sir.
It's good with that? All right, I'm good with it. So we can carry on.
Vote
We have to vote this one?
to accept the dates, as the state is laid out.
So I'll entertain a motion to, accept the, dates for the, setting of the 2024 town holiday schedule.
So moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Teresa Amos, yes?
Motion, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes. Who do we got first? Yeah. So 4.3, discuss and approve job description for the Assistant Chief of Department. And that's for the fire department. So did you want to talk about this one, Eric?
Yeah, just very briefly, this is a position that was contemplated in the setting of the budget when Chief Shepherd had presented to the Board of Selectmen last year his plan for the fire department organization. This position was contemplated as a 6-month position in FY '24. And so that would mean we're talking about someone starting in January. And so this is the job description that was drafted for that position. Again, it was budgeted and contemplated in the financials for the department and in the long-term plan for the fire department.
So this is a non-union position,
Correct.
and was this run in front of Labor Council?
I can have it run in front of the Labor Council, if that's the will of the board.
Yeah,
You can approve it subject to changes from Labor Council.
Yeah, what say the board?
yeah, I always think it should go before Labor Council.
I agree too. So we can vote, Teresa, and then say pending or, no, we would amend.
You would vote subject to the
Subject to
approval of the
review.
Labor.
To the changes.
Okay,
Agree.
so, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved?
Second.
Is that good enough? That's good enough. Any further discussion? Well, I looked this over and I don't have any issues with it, so, all those in favor?
Teresa A. Moore, yes.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes.
I'll send it over to Labor Council.
Yeah.
First thing.
Yeah, she should be able to look it over. Jane? Is that her name?
Yeah, Jane.
Jane. Let's see.
Four point five, I think, we still have, probably have time to do
Can
that.
we do that? We have time? Okay, 4.5, review and approve Medicare policy. I know Callie wants us to get this in front of us.
Yeah, and so this is on the SharePoint. It's very brief. As we discussed, it's a complicated issue, but the actual policy is very brief. And so the purpose of this policy seeks to provide specific answers to employee questions as to whether employee spouses are allowed to move from town health insurance to Medicare and then back to town health insurance. And the policy is given the various factors involved, plus potential financial impact of such choices. The town will not allow an employee spouse who has left town insurance to go to Medicare to subsequently cancel Medicare and return to the town insurance. So we would just treat this as the first reading of the policy. Again, I made it very brief. The background is, the regulations on the background are very voluminous, but the underlying policy is just a very simple policy, which is we're not going to allow it. And the reasons why are because of it's a very complicated choice and there are financial implications of that choice. And it's much simpler for everybody if the answer from the town is just no, we're not going to allow people to bounce back and forth.
I'm okay with that.
I'm good with that.
So yes, as far as, Teresa, do you have any input on that?
Yeah, well, I just want to say, because this was another one I got a call on, we are not keeping anybody from Medicare choice options, Medicare this, Medicare that. This is simply a policy saying once you choose Medicare, you can make as many different options that you have with Medicare. You just cannot come back to town private insurance. It's not any infringement on your Medicare rights.
Correct. We have nothing to do with the Medicare itself. It's just merely, you can't elect to not use the town insurance, use something else, go to Medicare, and then come back onto town insurance. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Right, but we're not dictating Medicare. You can have
No,
all the
we have
Medicare
nothing.
things you want.
Yes.
Nothing to do with us,
Pretty sick of those
Medicare.
commercials anyway.
Medicare has nothing to do with us.
So we're going to set this for a second reading on the 9th.
Correct. We can put that along with, why don't we put those two together?
Yep.
We can do policy on both of those at the same time. So by the time we get there, Bill's here, so.
Yeah.
We can jump to the rail trail. Bill, you ready?
I'm all set.
All right, so
Sneak up behind you.
2.2.
2.2.
At 6:30, we're gonna meet with Bill Rideout regarding the Squanicook Rail Trail. So come on up here and,
All right, sit over here.
yeah, anywhere you'd like.
Okay.
We'll get you no matter where you sit.
Oh, boy.
Hi, Bill, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, thank you. So I guess I don't need to share my screen or anything. I did send the slides, but if you want me to share them, I can. So anyway, we are finishing up, and by we, I mean James behind me here, are finishing up building the rail trail behind Hannaford's, and we have been talking about where to go in the future. And so we're actually thinking of both directions, towards Air and towards New Hampshire. For Air, we have a CPA application in the town of Groton, which should cover all the engineering to go from where we are right now to that park just behind Hollingworth, just beyond Hollingworth and Bowes, which would be a nice destination that way. So in Townsend, we thought, what do we do next? We actually have the lease all the way to about a couple hundred yards past Worcester Road. So we were thinking, let's do the engineering from where it is now on Depot Street behind the old auto body place, auto parts place, do the engineering for crossing Route 13 with some sort of rapid flasher, and then take it and see what we have to do to get that trestle up and open.
Right.
And, besides continuing towards New Hampshire, there's a couple of nice things that way. You get some access to the Spalding School, and safe routes to school is a big thing. Make it easier for the people west of the center of town to get to the rail trail. Joan was also pointing out to me that it gives you nice access to the Adams Dam, which the town has put a lot of resources into, so it'll make it much more visible to the town.
Yeah, I agree.
And finally, it'll give you a nice vista on the rail trail as you cross the pond, and it'll make it safer because it'll have railings up and things like that. But for now, we're just applying for permitting and engineering costs. We're not applying for any construction costs. We do not know if the trestle is going to have to be taken down or not. Almost certainly that surface, where my surface here, just show you here. Almost certainly the surface, the old ties, and that's going to have to come down. But whether the supports are going to have to have the whole thing replaced or just replace that 25-foot missing section. It's missing because there was erosion on the west bank, and that was unsafe, the connection there. So they just took off the surface between the where it landed and the first support beam. So that's what we're applying for a grant for, and so we are at the point where we're looking for letters of support, and so we'd like the BOS to write us a letter of support. And I can send you the one you wrote last year, but it's a little different this year because it's focused on this particular thing.
Sure.
So the letter of support that you're looking for the Board of Selectmen is for the CPA application for Groton?
No, it is that's for an entirely separate project. That's for doing the permitting in Groton. We are going for a Mass Trails grant to cover this engineering in Townsend. And so this Mass Trails grant would only be covering Townsend. It would only be covering from Depot Street to Worcester Road.
Yeah. And then I have another question, if you don't mind.
Nope.
Can you define I'm talking on the Groton CPA application. The CPA is the Community Preservation Act in Groton, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And you are asking that because they do belong to CPA, Townsend doesn't, but Groton does, but you'll be asking them for engineering and what else?
And permitting.
Okay.
So in fact, the larger cost in Groton is permitting, just because there are natural heritage issues there. And well, that's actually most of the reason why.
That won't have anything to do with Townsend though.
I don't think that's going to be the major problem in Townsend, no, because this is a pretty urban area.
Well, Joe, the reason why I brought that up is because the Community Preservation Act that they have in Groton, which we try to have here, this is part of the funding that, and the reason why I just wanted to bring this to the attention of those who are watching is that this is one of the pluses that we have. If we had CPA funding for this and we had it approved in town, we would be able to help out certain things like this. That's why I wanted to bring that.
Well, if I could actually follow up on that topic too. So we've got a bunch of people in town, Kim Craven and myself and a number of other people who have talked to what is the best way to get this passed? And we felt that we're going to do a citizen petition next spring and try to put it on the ballot for next November, which is a presidential election, and do an entire campaign through the summer, educating people as to what we'll do. And we'll do a very conservative, Townsend-based thing where all the exclusions are in there to eliminate people that, but that's a separate issue. But since you talked about CPA, I just want to let you know that is very much going to be happening. There will be a petition drive, not a town meeting drive, a petition drive,
Right.
going on
See
next
how
spring.
nice we kind of segued right into that.
That's right. I said, maybe I should say that. And they're like, oh, nope, Jazz will bring it up.
So I think that's really important.
Yeah,
so-
that would help. I mean, okay, so I can put on both the rail trail and the Historic Society help, because that's two of the things that CPA covers are recreation and historical preservation, along with, of course, housing, which is extremely important also.
Correct. Good. Any questions on anything, Teresa?
Yes, Chaz, Bill, I know you're looking for a letter from us, but can you just tell me, I'm just curious, just for learning, how do you also get support from Senator Cohen, state reps, et cetera? Like, what's the process there? Do you need our assistance with that at all, or how does that work?
Well, basically, I just send them emails. They have in the past written us letters of support for the past few Mass Trails grant we have won. In fact, they've already both agreed to write those letters of support. So certainly if I didn't get, their buy-in, I would ask you for help, but I do not believe I need it.
Okay, thank you very much, Bill.
I may be approaching boards like the Recreation Department and asking them for support because it is, it's something that's particular to them as opposed to town-wide.
Well, I think that, you guys have put an extremely large amount of effort into this. But I want to thank the both of you, especially you out in the freezing cold doing.
What we
doing the
take
stuff
credit for.
Yeah. I just thank you for all the work that you guys are doing for that. I know that, especially this summer, because I'm kind of right there watching it on a day-to-day basis, the attendance on that rail trail was phenomenal all summer long. So I think that was, that alone said to me, this was very worthwhile for us to have here.
Yeah, it was amazing how it helped out right when COVID hit. So
It's a great asset. to the
everybody was.
community.
It really
It
is.
really is. And I'm right on that trail, and the amount of people every day. I don't think a day goes by there isn't many people up and down that trail. So it's well used and well appreciated.
And just to throw out a kudos, Shepherds did a great job building it.
Yes, I agree.
The Shepherd's crew did an awesome job.
I see people out when you guys started pulling the rails on the other side, you could see people running up trying to see what are they doing now? They're pulling rails. Yes, they're pulling rails because they were looking for that end of it. So I appreciate all the work that you're doing. I don't think we need to have a formal vote for the letter. We can just approve that a letter be written.
Yep.
Are you okay with that, Teresa?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
I'm good.
okay, so I think you should be able to, something close to what we wrote for a letter of support
Yeah,
before.
if you can send that over.
I'll just send you
Send it
I've
over
got
to
a scan
Sabrina
of it.
and I, and we'll
okay,
write it up and send it back out.
great. And I'll send you the little bullet points that you might want to throw in there.
Perfect.
Great, and I hope to
Good
see you
job,
all
Bill.
in
You
June
guys
when
are
we
all
have an
doing a
opening
great job.
ceremony.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
exciting.
Great job
I'll be
again.
there.
Yeah,
I'll
great.
definitely
We'll be there.
Thanks.
Thanks. Well, you don't have to go.
Thank you very much.
Like one there.
I can walk down the road.
You can sit on your porch and be at the opening
Right, I
ceremony.
can.
James told me how excited he is to do that trestle.
Good luck. I want to take one of the biggest machine guns.
Right across.
To reach.
All righty. 4.6, review and approve amended DPU plan for community aggregation.
So I included the plan in the SharePoint. This is not, the amendments that were made were very minor. They're just to reflect some regulatory changes, but they're not changes to the substance of the plan. But we do need a formal vote from the board approving this amended plan so they can send it directly to DPU.
Yeah, I looked at the changes and they're
They're
very,
very minor.
so if you both are in agreement, I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended DPU plan for community aggregation.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Teresa Moore, yes.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton, New Indian, yes. So we can get that off our to-do list.
Yeah, so I'll let
Finally.
Good Energy and Ross know tomorrow that it was approved so they can submit it ASAP.
Okay.
Awesome.
Next is the addition, 4.7, review and approve, the surplus that was submitted by the Fire EMS Department. I'll read down the list, Teresa, if you want me to, so you know what we're talking about. So the following equipment be declared as surplus. One 2009 Ford Expedition known as Car 2. The vehicle is over 14 years old with approximately 130,000 miles on it. And they have determined that the vehicle is not worth investing several $1,000s into repairs. There is one 2012 Blizzard snowmobile trailer in good condition. The trailer is no longer needed for the mission it was purchased for. Okay,
That,
what was the mission?
that trailer was bought and it was with snowmobiles that they had when the state gave the grants and they had snowmobiles.
That's right, yeah.
But now they have the ATV that has the tracks on it, so it's not being used.
Not being used, okay. A 1,600 feet of 4-inch supply hose that has reached the end of its service life. 6 portable generators, 5 of them are over 40 years old and are not operational. The cost of repair exceeds the value of these generators. 3 Honda portable water pumps. These pumps are over 30 years old and are no longer operational. 3 Stihl chainsaws. These are 15 years old with mechanical issues. 17 fire extinguishers, no longer serviceable as they've reached their end of life. 1 Hurst high-pressure airbag set with 3 different size airbags, hoses, and control module, approximately 25 years old and no longer serviceable. 5 spine immobilization boards and 1 scoop stretcher that are over 15 years old and in various conditions that no longer meet standards. 12 sets of firefighting gear that is over 10 years old and no longer usable due to its age. 1 gas-powered ventilation fan, unknown condition, and 1 roof-mounted Wayland light bar, not operational. The only thing that I had brought to the town administrator's attention is I'd like to have the generators be reviewed by Parks and Cemetery, Highway, and the Water Department. They may be able to use those as emergency type things in some situations, depending upon what they are. I know that they have MacGyvers with small equipment
Fix it, yeah.
over, so if they can fix something and have it used on an emergency basis, if they see interest in it, I don't have a problem with it. But outside of any of this other stuff, Teresa, do you see anything with anything else?
No, I don't. So
Joe?
No,
So you want to have a motion to approve surplus of these items, subject to having the other internal departments review the generators first?
mhm.
I'll move it.
So move.
second,
So it's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Teresa A. Marsh, yes.
So Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Green, yes.
Clean up some of the old stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So our next meeting is not till 7, so we've got some time.
So do you, any ARPA
No.
5.0, no ARPA?
I have a question on ARPA.
Yep.
So I'm just curious because I had asked last week if we could look for the potential, if I'm looking at it this way, that we have positions in ARPA that we can't find personnel to fill or things ARPA here or that there. So I asked if we could take a look at ARPA and see if there's any possibility that there's funding there that we can use to equip the new vehicle the fire department has. Do we have any update on that?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to meet with the fire chief about that, but it's on my list for sometime this week.
Okay,
But
thank you.
I'll make it very clear that, we had this conversation and yes, that piece of equipment has to get updated, but everything that we have going in front of us, I don't think it's the appropriate time we spend any money up or anything to do any more on that truck until we know where we're going with our budget.
I know that, we've been very accommodating with the fire department, but I also want to be able to have other departments. I know that highway is in need of some equipment as well. So I think how about if we do a review of if you and I can sit down, we'll do a review of the ARPA funds between now and January's meeting.
Okay.
And then
So-
come up with our evaluations on what, or recommendations, I guess I should say, and then we can talk about it more in our first January meeting.
If I could have just some guidance, that's all I'm really looking for, Chaz, for the January capital planning. That's why I'm asking.
What kind of guidance are you looking for?
Is this, should we be looking for any requests to come in? And I don't know what these requests are gonna be, right? We have a preliminary kind of heads up with the fire chief and the police chief, of what, et cetera. Should we just automatically be saying, no, there's no way to fund this other than, general funds or capital planning, capital budget, but opera is off the table? Or do we have, do we have the option to look at it? So if you look at it before the January capital planning meeting, it would really help the members of the capital planning meeting to say, no, it's all off the table, or there is a little wiggle room there, but really highway, we see it for highway or we see it for that. That would really help with capital planning. Does that make sense?
I can give you I can give you kind of a general answer, which is all of our ARPA money is allocated now.
But it's
We-
allocated in positions. We have some of it allocated in positions that aren't filled, right?
No, not
No,
anymore.
it's all the positions that we allocated for as far as the employment is filled. Everything has been filled.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time when the police department hadn't filled a position, then they had rolled over some ARPA funds. There was a time when the fire hadn't filled a position, they had rolled over some ARPA funds. But all those monies are being spent this fiscal year. The last kind of free money we had was the $30,000 that we took from, other COVID expenses and put towards this truck. So I think for capital planning purposes, ARPA should just not be that shouldn't be considered a source, for capital planning purposes. I think we just have to say, even if there is money left over, it's going to be very small amounts, a few thousand here, a few thousand there, and that, when we get a couple of years down the road and we get to the point where we have to finally allocate everything and spend it, or else we lose it, then we might amalgamate all that money together and say, we have this one lump sum, we're going to spend it on X. But I think until then, we probably need to proceed as though we don't have any big chunks of money left of ARPA money to spend.
Okay, thank you very much. That's very helpful.
Yeah, I think, Teresa, my thoughts on the matter is that ARPA would be a separate conversation. As far as funding is concerned, I think the capital planning should be looking at all requests for whatever department is looking for, evaluating to your best knowledge what we can and can't do, and then we can discuss other funding if we can't find it. I mean, that's my understanding of capital planning. It's yes, we need it, and whether or not we can fund it with the budget or how we're gonna do it would be, when we get down to brass tacks on where the money goes and how we're gonna do it, so.
It's just, okay, I'll go forward that way. I mean, it's just that on good or bad, we have in the past looked at capital funds. ARPA funds in the past, but going forward, we just won't.
I don't understand what you mean. We looked at ARPA funds for capital planning? Is that what you're saying?
We looked at them, we considered them, we said, this could be, something came up, like if this or that, and we're like, you know what? we can see if we can put that instead of under capital planning, put it as an operating expense. I can give you an example, but I'd have to pull up last year's worksheet. But I remember we ended up finding some item and it was switched. It was a smaller item. Matter of fact, if I remember correctly, the one I'm thinking of, it shouldn't even have been a capital planning expense because it was so small.
That's why it went to ARPA.
So
That's what I'm saying.
Here's what I think what you're getting to, Teresa, I think is something that's important, which is it probably is time for us to have a presentation about where we stand with every ARPA line. And I think doing that in January and January 9th would just be good for everybody on the board to know. Like, this is all the ARPA lines, this is how we've allocated it, so everybody has that spreadsheet and we'll all know what we're spending that ARPA money on. So I think that's, I mean, I think it's a good thing to do, and I think we should nail that
I
down so
agree.
we can,
I
so we'll
agree.
plan on the January 9th to have a full ARPA presentation as part of the ARPA section of the agenda.
Perfect. Thank you very much, both of you.
Right, it's 10 of, you need 10 minutes, you need more than that.
Well, I think we should just go, I'll go with my thing and then we'll stop if he gets here.
You guys can come in and
So,
sit
yeah,
down.
oh
and
yeah,
wait for
this is
us,
a,
that's
this is a
okay.
public,
Thank you.
because it's on the agenda for 7, we probably don't want to start it before 7, just in
Right.
case somebody wants to see
Yep.
what it's about.
So we'll
I
go to
can-
5.1 and you have 10 minutes, ready?
10
Go.
minutes, that's it, and that's all I'm gonna take, just 10 minutes, just blow right through it, okay? The first is, as the members of the board know, 2 unions, the supervisor and clerical unions, have provisions in their contract where they get half days the day before Christmas, half days the day before Thanksgiving. So the work day that falls the day before Christmas is the Friday before Christmas this year. So I was actually looking for permission from the board to just close town hall that last Friday before Christmas.
Which is the 22nd.
Yeah, we would be skeleton crewed that day anyway, in all likelihood. There are already departments that don't open at all on Fridays. That aren't staffed at all on Fridays, so I think that just closing down that day
My company did the same
in
thing.
full
We
would just
voted
be.
it that it just wasn't really.
Okay.
You good with
I'm
that?
good with that.
Teresa, what do you think about
So,
that?
yeah, my one concern is, well, this is part of their, as you said, right, part of their union negotiation. So
Yep.
is the assumption that they're working from home? Is there any concerns that we have that the places that can't close are gonna say, wait a minute, how do they get a half day off and I don't? Like, is there any slippery slope, I guess, issues we need to be concerned with?
Well, so because it's a negotiated benefit in the union, the other unions have the right to try to negotiate that into their contracts as well if they want. When they have days off, they don't work from home. If we close town hall, they don't work from home. We're closing town hall. We're not anticipating or expecting staff to work.
Okay? I have it.
I have no issue with it, she said.
Is that what she said? Okay. Then I'm good, so we're good.
Okay, so that's number 1. We got the surplus. We got the approval from Verizon. We received correspondence from Mart today at 4:00.
Oh, boy.
I'll read it to you. I hope you're all doing well. We have been operating the Townsend commuter shuttle since the beginning of July, but have not had any riders. We would like to suspend service until further notice while we work to develop a different marketing strategy. And, and they were having trouble finding a driver, and we already terminated the Saturday and Sunday because they couldn't find a driver. This is also, they're expending a same amount of funding and a driver at peak hour service for Mart for a route that's not getting any ridership.
But we already paid for it for the year. We already allocated money for the year for that.
We allocated money for the year, and I haven't had a conversation with him about what this would mean kind of financially for that allocation,
Mhm.
whether that we get prorated It's in the,
Take
we
money
put that
back,
money in
yeah.
the budget. But remember, it's not actually costing us anything because they're taking the entirety of the funds from the MBTA allocation that we weren't getting anyway. It was just going to the MBTA.
Right,
So
so can
we wouldn't, in other words, we're not gonna get money back. It would just end up.
I wanna make sure that we're talking to their marketing so that we can,
And we have been, we talked, Kiri Connors, who's copied on this, has been their marketing person, who's been working on it.
okay.
Just, I think,
I have not seen any marketing stuff besides what we've put out.
yeah,
So that's my only point with that. I mean, if they want to help us with, ads in the newspaper and all of that kind of stuff, I mean, that's the kind of marketing that I thought that we were gonna see.
yeah, I think that the challenge is, and it's what I think we're seeing is Townsend's such a vehicle heavy residential population. In other words, you can't get to the grocery store without a car. You can't get to the doctor's without a car. You can't, that the limited runs that we're doing are not enough to make someone be able to function without a vehicle. And therefore, there's just not a pool of people in town who
Can't
don't
just
have
walk there
vehicles.
to- You know, we don't have enough people just walk over there to get on the bus and come back.
Yeah.
That's what makes it tough.
You know, this would be different if we talked about having a regular bus route that like every hour came up 13 and down 119 to the Hanfords and then came back and went back to Fitchburg, where it could be sort of part of somebody's regular routine, but having it only one direction, one time a day and the other direction the other time of day, it's really geared towards people who are trying to get to the intermodal center in the morning and then trying to get back in the evening, and we just haven't had any ridership. But I can certainly ask them about, I mean, it sounds like what they would like to do is meet and talk about a different marketing strategy.
Yes, I would like that.
So maybe what we can do is ask someone to come to a board of selectmen meeting and talk to the board as a whole about maybe a marketing strategy, or the board could designate someone to maybe meet with them during the day, if that's better.
Or we could have a selectmen's meeting just with that topic on that during the day and we all meet.
Yeah.
We want to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, come in one day and just, that's what we're
Or I
doing.
could zoom in for that, because I would definitely do that.
Sure.
I'll be open to it. If you're open to that, Teresa?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So we've got a couple more things. One of them is going to be more than 2 minutes. Actually, they're both probably going to be more than 2 minutes, so we should probably just go to. So, by the time we get started, it'll be 7.
All right, so we will
Suspend 5.1.
put it on hold, temporary table. So we're gonna jump over to 2.3, 7 o'clock to meet Mark Laviolette.
Hello, Mark.
Hello. We were just starting our little conversation about French. Regarding the business proposal for Spike's Concession Trailer. You wanna come up here and have a chat with us?
So, my name's Mark Laviolette. I would like to bring a hot dog trailer business to the town of Townsend. I've lived in the town for 15 years, and I'm excited to bring a new business to the residents and community. I would like to locate the trailer at the town common rear parking lot during business hours. I am proposing the business hours to be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. I am proposing the food trailer offer hot dogs, sausage, peppers, and onions, American chop suey, chili, just to name a few. I will purchase and utilize local source products to the best of my ability. I would like the opportunity to work with the town of Townsend events such as Historical Society Craft Fair, Scarecrow Festival, and other events. I am proposing the trailer begin service in March 2024, possibly earlier if everything falls into place. I plan to complete the required Neshoba Board of Health food service permit application after I get my ServSafe certificate. Thank you for your time, and I hope to hear from you.
Okay, so Teresa?
Yeah, so, hi, Mark, how are you?
Good,
Are your wife in the background?
yeah. she's fine.
Hi.
I just have a couple of questions.
Yes,
Soon, if this truck, if you, have this, food truck or whatever, that it would be registered in the town of Townsend? And so we pay excise taxes, et cetera, so it would help with income.
Yes.
So we'd have the town would benefit from excise taxes and food taxes, all of that would also be town of Townsend because it's, in with the town of, Townsend, right?
Yes.
It wouldn't be housed anywhere else. It would be paying Townsend excise taxes.
right, yes,
Okay. And you said you would work with the Board of Health. Obviously, you know, there's several food permits that you would have to get, so you would have to make sure nothing could be approved until, that, did occur. Why, particularly and I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just asking, why did you come up with the the back end of the common? Why was that the ideal place for you?
it just seemed like that was the most noticeable place from, Route 13 and 119. I just thought it would be the ideal place.
And if, and I don't know, like I said, I gotta let the other members speak, and I don't know how this is gonna come out, but if, there's an alternate places that seem, better, suited for the town, not historical, not this, not that, or whatever, would that deter you, or are you willing to consider alternatives?
Yeah, I think I would, yeah. I wouldn't give up.
Okay, that's all I have, Mark, thank you.
Yeah, all right.
Joe? Good afternoon.
Hi.
Well, I guess some of my concerns I'd have is, okay, if we're gonna park that trailer back there,
Yeah,
we start with one hot dog stand. What about the next person wants to put sausage stand in? What are we gonna turn the back of the common into? And what is it? What's in it for the town? Where do we hold, who holds the liability if something gets hurt or something happens
I would
that
have to get.
you're on town
liability.
property?
I would get liability insurance. I'd take full responsibility.
But
You-
once again, it's still on town property.
You need to know, Mark, too, I don't know if you're aware, there has been a presentation before the town, and it was voted down to have a food truck park in the town of Townsend with several food trucks. So I just want to make sure that you're aware of that.
Okay.
Okay, we did that.
So I'm still not very clear, this has nothing to do with you, this has to do with some of our town business. Where does the delineation between, the cemetery and parks and the town? Is it cemetery and parks is within the actual, area of the, what do you call it, the railings?
This is the railings of the,
Yeah.
I'd have to check with the Cemetery and Parks Commission on that.
That's what I'm saying, so it's not, I'm just wondering if it's just our decision, or is it something that?
Yeah, and we also need to just double check with planning and zoning and make sure there's no implications for planning and zoning on this.
Right.
I don't think there are, but I mean, we just need to, because this is a
Right.
temporary thing. There have been
We still
food
need to
trucks.
check.
There have been food trucks in that parking lot before.
Yeah.
Right, for individual events, like not for,
But we've permitted it for it, but it's not going to be there all summer long, all spring long, all
Yeah,
fall.
we permitted it for
Just
whatever.
for, so
Sure.
what's gonna
No,
happen, no disrespect, but what's gonna happen to the band concerts? They have their hot dogs and their hamburgers and,
Yeah,
You know.
I wouldn't do it while they were doing their thing.
I just think there's a lot more that has to be looked. This is the first I read it on here and I didn't see anywhere else. So it's the first I've read about it. So I know we had that conversation about the food trucks down on 119. It wasn't a popular thing. I know I didn't vote for it. I don't think that was a proper place. I don't think the back of the common's the proper place to have this. There's other places. Have you checked anywhere else?
Nope, not yet.
What about power? How are you gonna power that?
Generator.
And this wouldn't be something that would stay there. This would be if you had a weekend that you were gonna be there, or a day, or there wasn't a private event there, et cetera, you would be there, correct?
Yeah,
So you would drive in for 11 o'clock and then be out by 3 o'clock and then drive the vehicle off the property. See, that's what I thought too, you know. I'm not averse to this. I think that, you know, if you know, that's, my concerns would be more the permitting, who owns the land, the liability, you know, I'm kind of that guy. I like, you know, I like the idea of having something there, but I also like the idea of having something even maybe down by the rail trail in that parking lot as well.
That's true.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the kind of stuff that I think would be perfect for the draw, or even mornings over here and afternoons over here, you know, there's a lot of opportunity. I think it's a great idea. I just think we need to really flesh it out a little bit more. I personally would want to see some conditions in regards to the garbage. You would take away the garbage. You would also have to provide receptacles for the customers to be able to put their stuff in.
Yeah.
Because that would mean that we would have our cemetery and parks having to empty those and all of that kind of stuff. So I think we need to
And
put
what do we do
provisions about
about
that.
bathrooms?
That's another.
And believe me, I think we need all the business we can get in town.
Mhm.
Whatever we can get to town, but as a member of the board, we have to just make sure we do the right thing.
Mhm.
You know, not against business by no means, but I just want to make sure we have all our bases covered.
Right.
You know,
Because sometimes, you know, the one thing presents itself and then further on down the road, something else, and we go, oh, we didn't think about
Yeah,
that,
right,
you know,
yeah.
so. And that's kind of why I want to flush everything out, but I'm not adverse to it. I just want to make sure that we have the conversations with the entities that we do.
Yeah, I can
think-
certainly reach out to Roger.
Yeah.
And figure out how he, you know, because I think Cemetery and Parks certainly does have control over the interior of it. I just don't know how they deal with just things that are just going on in the parking lot and asking.
should talk
them
with
to.
council.
So I can talk to
Find out.
them.
Yeah.
I mean, a kind of a license agreement with the town that indemnifies the town and requires a certain level of insurance, requires the trash taken out. It's certainly something that I'm certain town council, I mean, I've drafted them. I know that town council probably has one he could send me over.
There you
Yeah, he's
go.
got one in his back pocket, I'm sure, for operating some sort of a business like this on. So any concerns that can be dealt with in an agreement, we can certainly deal with.
Yeah.
The question is, and I think that you raised it, does the board think that that's an appropriate place for it to be a more permanent fixture? You know, you're talking about being here, as soon as the people could be walking outside, you want to be there, and you
Right.
want to be there until they stop walking outside. You know, so you're talking about 5 days a week for
Right,
You
and
know,
then
for
therefore the functions that they have
8 or 9 months.
at the, on the common, because there's a lot that
Right.
they have there.
I own a business in Westford. I'm a barber, and on the way home, I go down 119, and there's Gary's Farm Stand over there, and they have Ed's Weenies and it would be something like that, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I think,
But that's on private property where they have that.
Yeah.
right,
Big difference, private property to town
Right,
property,
yeah.
you know?
but I don't know, I
Can we
used to
allow one?
work over at Deluxe, and we used to go to the little hot dog stand over in Bethel for lunch. I mean, it was
Yeah, right
always
down there
there.
by the.
I mean, I'm certain that it would be
all the time.
popular with the businesses in the area, including Town Hall, if there was a hot dog stand.
So it's
You know,
it's
Business is
definitely-
good, don't get me wrong, business is good, but we gotta make sure we do the right thing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think we expressed our two concerns, like, and I think a third one I want to add, like, our first concern is are we talking about the right location?
Right.
But the other concern I have, once we decide on a location, like we've all agreed, right, that it's, you know, come in 10, 3, et cetera, whatever. But I don't want to have to be that every week somebody's behind the select board. It's like, well, I don't want Mark to, it's not Mark's turn this week. It's my turn this week because we got this and that, whatever. I want to make sure we have, you know, that instead of here.
Just worried about conflicting with other things that are happening at the company.
Right.
I mean, I think it would, you know, I can certainly check with Roger and figure out, because they obviously maintain a master schedule, because if two events try to come at the same time, they have to figure out who came first. And then, so I'm sure they've got a calendar of events that happen in the summer. And if the board is comfortable with doing this, I would say, you know, if you put in kind of, are there events that happen during the day? My impression is during the weekdays, you're not having events at the common. I was here all last summer and all this summer, and I didn't see any events that are happening while we're working. Events are happening in the afternoon, the evening, or on the weekends.
Right.
You know, and so having a restriction that says you can come during these hours where we know there's not going to be a conflict, and we check with Roger and make sure there's no conflicts.
Right, I would check with the commission, the Parks and Cemetery Commissioners, so that they're the ones that are giving us the feedback.
Sure.
So,
We can send a specific request over. I mean, maybe what the answer is that the board can say, we don't really necessarily have any concerns, or we have concerns that we've expressed, and we're directing the board, the town administrator, to reach out to the cemetery and parks, to have a conversation with them, and maybe perhaps have Mr. Laviolette go to the Cemetery and Parks Commission and have a conversation
Well, I
with them
think
about
first,
it.
before we even entertain it, I think, no disrespect again here, but he doesn't have any of his permit, he has nothing yet.
Right, I
So,
didn't want
are
to
we-
do it until I
why-
knew, you know.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I would get permitting before.
so your position is whether or not to put the cart before the horse. I see where you're going there.
We've done that how many times in
Yes,
this
yes, we
community?
have. Yes, we
I
have.
am,
done that way
I
too
am
many
in the
times.
process of studying the exam, and I'll be making an appointment to take the test within the next month or two. And I can't, I have to do the serve safe test first before I can bring it to the Board of Health, so there's a couple steps I have to do, but I wanted to, find the place first before, I haven't even bought the truck, that's the next step after I get everything,
So you're on a fishing expedition right now.
Yeah,
That sounds like the Mark I know.
Well, I mean, knowing now what our thought process is, because it's much more complicated than putting a truck there between 11 and 3.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? There's a lot of things that we need to consider. So how would you two like to take our next steps?
Well, one thing I just would like to add, like if it's gonna be on the weekend, it has to be under the control of who's ever in charge of that weekend. Like they already have processes in place. Like if
Right.
there's somebody who's a fudge vendor and a second person tries to sell fudge, they don't let two fudge vendors come like on Earth Day or this or that. So
right,
I want to take that over as the Board of Selectmen. So that would be one of the conditions I have. But like I said, Mark has a bunch of stuff that he has to do first, so I would recommend him to move forward, look forward and come back to us once he gets his approval from the Board of Health. And in the meantime, I don't think it hurts for us to be proactive and look, what is is that feasible? Talk to Parks and Cemetery. Is it feasible to have a truck in the back there, not staying there, not 24/7, not every single weekend, but is it even feasible?
Well, I also agree with that, and he's also taking into consideration the bandstand that would take precedence.
right.
They have
You're out with
a little
the
more
11.
seniority than you
Right.
in that
Right.
respect.
I mean, I don't want to step on anyone's.
Yeah, because that's like our major fundraiser.
What
for
were
a lot of
hours
our
again that you were gonna do? 11 to 3?
11 to 3,
What days?
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, so I didn't think there was weekends involved, all right.
Well, that's if the opportunity to work at Town of Townsend events, such as the Historic Society Craft Fair, there's other little events that don't have
That come in.
that come in.
Yeah, and they
bring
were
us-
looking,
Since he's already permitted, why not? If they don't.
But I
have
think
a
we
truck.
just, my opinion is, come back in front of the board and get all the permits, get everything, get all your licenses you need. I think we're premature to say, yeah, it's a great idea, go do it. You don't have anything that we need.
Right,
We need facts,
right.
you know?
In the meantime, I agree that Teresa will check with Parks and Cemetery with their thoughts on it. I think we still need to run it by the zoning or planning,
Yeah, I agree.
just for,
And, you know, if I can't do it there, I'd be willing to do it at the rail trail.
yeah,
you
there's a
know.
couple of locations
There
that
are
you could
several,
probably,
yeah.
that are close here. And I know that some of the local businesses that would like that. I
Yeah.
know that they would here. I would definitely, if I was in the area.
Okay, so park and cemetery zoning, and, okay,
Let's see what Roger says, what's permitted in the back of that, without, we have to give special permits every time there's something out back there.
Yeah. Now, also, Teresa, I think something that we need to have to consider with something like this, this is also kind of a continuation of our other thing when we were talking about the farmer's market. We need to set more parameters in regards to if somebody else comes in and they want to have a chocolate milk truck, how we're gonna have to deal with that. So I
Exactly.
think we need to have the forethought to be able to put that in perspective as well. What is good for the goose is not necessarily good for the gander.
Nope.
Yeah.
All right, I'm good with that. Are you
All
good with
right,
that?
I'll do what I gotta do.
Okay.
Yeah, get your stuff and.
How would I set up, like, when I get done, everything just?
yeah, so what we'll do is I'll double check with our planning and zoning office just to make sure that there's not gonna kind of run afoul of anything with that.
Okay,
And then I'll reach out to Parks and Cemetery and let them know with your kind of proposal that you had submitted, and your contact information. And I'll let Roger, who's the head of the cemetery department, and the board know that you're interested, and try to figure out with them if they need to, what their process
Yeah, I'd
is.
even reach out to Roger myself and, you know, say, I'd do a presentation in front of the Parks and Cemetery Commissioners, just to let them know what you're thinking too.
right,
So that they have a better idea, they can meet you and
Right,
they can give
okay.
you your thoughts. I think that would be a good thing
Okay.
too.
sounds
And
good.
find out what we need to do. If you're gonna be there 11 to 3, there's got to be some sort of porta potty somewhere. I would think there has to be some kind of something.
It wasn't
We
one.
don't usually require that for food trucks.
Yeah.
But we don't know that.
I mean, I'm just letting you know, I did the whole food truck ordinance and all, I wrote it, so you don't require porta potties. It's too much.
Too much work to.
No, I mean, it's too much sanitary stuff. You actually don't want them there because it's way more cleanup.
And we should talk to town council too, just to bring him in on the conversation.
Yeah, I can surely ask Al just to.
So I don't have to book a date with him on the next
Next week, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Next 2 weeks.
Can I ask a question or no?
Sure, yeah.
So when we come back, do you need like a liability package too? So would you need insurance wise? So if you're checking with council on the town's end, would you need?
Well, that's something that I think that we can work out beforehand.
Okay.
So before the meeting, we can all be in agreement on what you guys need to bring in for us. I think that would. work
Yeah,
out.
before we meet again, I would have drafted, well, I've to work with town council to draft something that talks about what reasonable liability insurance and some of the conditions that we're talking about,
Yeah, just
porting
wanna
out
protect
trash.
you and us. Just, we all wanna be protected.
Yeah.
Cause we all know the world we're living in.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
But I appreciate you coming in and
Thank
talking
you
to
guys
us.
for listening to
No
me.
problem.
Bye, Terry.
Bye now. Nice to see you
Great
again.
day. Good night. We'll see you.
Nice to see you both.
Okay,
All right.
thank you both.
Good night.
5.2, reports from board.
Oh,
meetings.
can we go back to 5.1?
No, I don't want to.
You're all done. You had your time.
Well, I
You
mean,
said you could get it done in 10
I
minutes.
did, I foolishly.
But you have 2 minutes
I
left.
will reluctantly go back to
Use your last
Thank
2
you.
minutes of your time.
Yeah, I've seen, I reserved time,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair. Okay, so.
This
This is,
begins now.
okay. So I wanted to get some guidance from the board on snow.
It's gonna snow.
I
There's
don't
no
want
doubt.
any.
I don't want any either, but I'd rather have snow than ice. I've learned, as I said at town meeting. So last was my first year having to figure out what we did with town properties with respect to snow. And as a very conservative approach, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna pay attention to what the school district does. When the school district closed down, we closed down. And I talked that over with the board, and we were okay with that.
Last year.
No, this is
Not
my,
this year.
this is my second year, and I wanted to bring this up before it happened, and we had to make some sort of determination.
It meaning snow.
Yeah, yes. Hit meaning fan. As to if folks have some thoughts or some guidance that they would like to give as to how to deal with the reality of what do we do with town halls, with town buildings in the snow?
Good.
Well, my opinion, I think town hall, town employees are a little bit different than school. Schools are running around a bunch of school buses, a lot of kids, a lot of children on it. They have to really make that call, and a lot of times may not be the right call, but that's okay. The safety of those children is really important. All of the employees, maybe 90% of them, they all have all-wheel drive, four-wheel drives. If it's that bad, a state of
Not 90%.
emergency, well, a lot, but a state of emergency, yeah, then we call a state of emergency, we call it off. But I mean, if we're gonna depend on every time they call that off down there, and there's nobody in town hall, I don't buy that. That's my opinion.
I disagree. I just, I don't think they call the school that often. They haven't historically. I don't know if they are more, so now, but I don't see that they're calling it that often. And anything we can do for the safety of our town employees and keep them off the road when it's been determined that the roads are potentially unsafe is in the best interest of the town.
I agree with you, and I think we really need to start thinking more of a late start approach to things than to cancel. I do think that things were canceled because the school canceled, and then nothing really kind of came to fruition on a couple of those schools.
It did happen. I mean, it did happen a couple of times.
A
couple of times. I will say where it wasn't as severe as they thought. The benefit of following the schools is it's a hard and fast rule that I could tell everybody to do, and it's not doesn't have to be made the day of. I know that sometimes means that because the schools, I do believe, should be cautious and are cautious about closing. And so if it's a 50-50 chance of it being a problem, they're gonna be like, we're not getting our buses out if there's a 50-50 chance of it being a problem. And they also are much more likely to shut down schools if they think something's going to happen in the afternoon, because the worst thing is to get the kids to school and then have it too dangerous for them to get them out. So I could certainly try to be in communication with Jimmy about the conditions and have him opine as to whether or not town hall should be closed. I hesitate to put too much more. I mean, like, he's going to be
busy out on the road.
if it's an event that we might have to close for, then he's already got something that's on his mind. But he's the only other person I think that I could kind of rely on to say, hey, give me an opinion as to what you think about snow. And unfortunately, it's not just how Townsend roads are, because Townsend roads, I've heard, actually get plowed better than some of the surrounding towns.
Right.
We got folks coming down from New Hampshire. We got folks traveling, coming from other, surrounding towns. And so it's not just how well are Townsend roads plowed. It's also how well are the other roads plowed. How's the state doing on state roads? And so those are my concerns. I like to,
I think you're absolutely correct. There was a couple of misses last year that's going to happen. But I actually heard, talk about the misses afterwards that, they got to look at tightening up when they're making that call. Can they wait to 5 a.m. instead of doing it, trying to get it done at 7 o'clock at night the night before, and then nothing hits. So I certainly think there's an opportunity to talk to the superintendent of schools, build up our relationship with them, and, just say, we know it's tough, but, maybe there's a way for them to tighten it up. The other thing, do we have a sense, and it shouldn't, I don't know if it should matter, it shouldn't matter, but do we have a lot of parents that work for the town that have school-aged children? So once, they have to, they have to be home with their children, or probably not, right?
No, I mean, there's a distinct, yes, we have a significant amount of school-age kids. I mean, I'm thinking about in this building, but also the library, there are school-age parents, yes.
Okay.
But I mean, it's not everybody, but obviously.
Yeah, my other concern was school gets canceled, but we decide, oh no, it's not enough. Then that puts a parent, somebody in the thing, now I have to take a day off, or now I have to find last minute care for my child, etc. It's making things complicated for our employees who, as we all agree, do such a great job for this town, that if this is the little benefit we can give them, that they wake up, if the school's canceled, they got a snow day, just make it easy for them. That's my opinion.
And I'll be honest, that is a consideration that I do think of too. I mean, it's a burden that lands on parents if their job decides to make them come in on a day when the school's canceled. So they either have to take a day off.
That's just not the town of Townsend. That's the world. Everybody, we have to look at that.
Oh, no, but
We all had kids at some point that were in school, and we all had to work around different things. I get that. But the town is on such a tight budget that we just have to really pay attention to what we're doing and how we're spending taxpayers' money. The school calls off school, okay, and they do it a lot, and I listen to that all the time, and I see it all the time. They're always calling off school before, they call it off the night before. Well, when I was growing up, they'd call it off an hour or so before school, and then you got it. Now, everyone already knows we're having a snow day, and it hasn't even started snowing in town.
When the fire department blew the horn, that's when you knew.
Yeah, and so I have, once again, employees are very important, but we have to be very careful saying, okay, school called it off, everybody in the town hall, library, everyone will close, pay all that money.
Well, I would like to stay away from, it's not the school's call, it would be,
Should be the boards.
It's
Mhm.
the town calling whether or not they're gonna.
Well, but again, I don't think it would be the boards. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, one person, somebody make that decision other than the school.
Well, no, I mean, I would be the person, but I don't want to do it without getting some parameters from the board
Correct.
as to how we should do
Right,
that.
so I mean, if there's anybody that I would like you to call, it would be the highway department as opposed to the school,
Yeah,
because.
I wasn't, I
you know,
never called the schools. I mean,
Yeah,
just to be fair.
I
wasn't
know that.
I wasn't on the phone with them. checking things out.
I also have to think, yes, I agree that our employees are valuable, but for somebody who runs a very large organization, there's the real world and there's municipalities, and there are always a broad difference between the two. I mean, I'm in a job where it's 24/7, so I have to be there whether it snows or not. That's just me. But there are other facets of the organization that I work with that will do late starts until they determine whether or not. I mean, they do a late start and then they can determine whether or not they're going to close for the day.
Right.
When we do close for the day like that, we're paying our employees for the day, correct?
Yeah.
That's the rub that I feel.
No, to be fair, it's not extra money.
Correct.
I mean, it's already, it's not like they're getting an extra check for that day.
Correct, but they are
They are at home.
Get
Yes.
nothing done.
And there are some departments that can do some work at home as well. I mean, even though I may not physically drive into work, but I am there and I am doing some work and I am managing,
Sure.
the building, even though I'm not physically there. Having said that, I whatever you guys think, I understand both sides of the situation.
I'm trying to look it up because I'm trying to see what I remembered. And we always built a calendar, and we have again this, North Middlesex has again this year, assuming 4 to 5 snow days. Do you think it was more or less than that last year?
I don't think it was more than that. I don't think we canceled school more.
So we're talking probably 3 to 5 days, 5 days at the most. I don't think it was more than that either, because I'm looking at the calendar and when they were released. So I wasn't thinking it was more than that either. So I just want to make sure we're talking what numbers we're talking. So we're talking probably 3 to 5 days. It's not like.
Right, now that we're talking, we'll probably have 15 or 20.
Well, that's what you can't put a number on.
Right, I just.
No, every winter is different.
Yeah.
Every winter is a
Now-
different year.
Now we're in huge trouble. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, so what I'm hearing is, we want to kind of take everybody's safety into account. We want to be cognizant of the fact that if it's possible to have town hall open and people doing work, we ought to.
Well, we can also allow the employees to work from home or not.
So, and I'll be blunt, my only concern about that is that falls down unequally across employees. There are people who can't work from home and there are people who can.
Right.
And we have a limited number of VPNs, and we've been kind of saying like, you need to prove to me that you need a VPN.
Yeah.
And now the reward is you have to work from home. And this person who didn't prove to me they need a VPN can say, I don't have a VPN, I can't work from home. And we're not going to get it for just a snow day, right? Like, and there are some people who have pure customer service jobs.
Yeah.
And some people who don't. Like, there's some people who could work from home all the time, that becomes a little bit more of a challenging request, where if we're open, you might be able to say, we're opening, you need to be here. Joe Blow, you can work from home because you're coming from New Hampshire and you have a VPN, so work from home. But like that just gets a little bit more tricky,
Well, if they can work from home, I can't work from home.
I'm
Be a danger.
I think working from home is a case-by-case basis that I don't make in account of snow. I make an account of like, my kid's got colic, I can't get in, can I work from home in this morning? And I'm like, okay, that's a reason why you can work from home in the morning. Take your kid to the doctor in the afternoon so you don't have to take a full sick day. Like, that's the kind of when I think work from home makes sense. It's harder as a whole organization when we know that it's not going to fall evenly to say, we're closing down hall, but anybody can work from home has to. You can't, you don't have to. I'm worried about that. So maybe what I think I need to do is, and how do we feel about this, which is like, if the school's canceled by the district, we're going to have a late start. And in that morning, we'll assess as whether or not we're going to be closed or not. In that morning.
Makes sense.
That makes sense.
Because then that'll give us some time to make an assessment. We're going to say, we'll definitely have a late start. So you don't need to get up at 5 o'clock and be shoveling out your car.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have a late start. And we'll make an assessment before you need to leave, whether or not we're going to be closed that day or not. That way it gives some sort of.
Is right.
Does that seem like a more, because it'll still give us some structure, so people don't have to sit around waiting by their phone for a text as to whether or not we're on or
School's
off.
canceled, okay, but we, Townsend, at this point, we got a 2-hour late start.
And then that morning, then I can
before
talk
that
to
2
Jimmy
hours,
and I can say,
where are we gonna be?
are you gonna, because my question basically is gonna be this: is it gonna be cleared and safe for drive as of an hour before opening?
Yeah.
Or are you gonna have to be out there continuing planning because it's continuing to be a problem? If the answer is it's gonna continue to be a problem, then the answer is probably gonna be, then we're probably gonna stay closed.
But then that's where you make that
And
decision.
then,
We don't rely on the school to do that.
right, and so we're not relying on the school to close. It's gonna be an independent determination that morning, but we will be telling people, you're gonna have some extra time. That way I'll be able to find out in the morning whether or not it's gonna happen.
Because the school, their budget got a whole hell of a lot more money than us.
If the school has a 2-hour delay, we have a 2-hour delay.
Well, I mean, I think that's the kind of thing that would be probably more reasonable, because if we know if they're only having a 2-hour delay, it's because they're just trying to get everything cleaned up in the morning, and
At
that's
the
a,
schools, yeah.
and that's a more reasonable thing for us to just have a 2 hour delay, because they're gonna be wanting to clean up everything
Yep.
here in the morning too.
Yep.
I don't think anybody's I don't think that's as much of an issue. A 2 hour delay isn't as much of an issue, because then people are gonna be in here working, and they're gonna, be here if somebody needs to get in to get to work, and so that, I don't think that's an issue. It's more about the closing and us worried about those days when the schools have closed and maybe they didn't need to.
So what was the policy last year when the school had a 2-hour delay? What did up the town?
We delayed it, yeah.
You did. Oh, so there's no change there. That was not a problem. Okay.
Yeah,
thank
that was just a case, I mean, that was more of a case by case thing. I mean, like, the 2 hour delays are usually because the crap will happen at night, and in the morning it's just clean up, and we're just trying to, and-
Okay, yeah, I have no
So
problem.
if that sounds reasonable to everyone,
Yes.
my proposal to have that 2 hour delay if school closed, then we'll let them know in the morning as to whether or not we're gonna close or not. Based on a determination with Jen.
Yes.
I like that much better than just closing.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that guidance. I appreciate that. So this is my last item, which is, we've been going over possibilities for kind of an interim building commissioner. After weighing kind of the pros and cons and talking with Janet about it, what we're hoping to do is have Dana Barnes, who's currently the building commissioner in Dunstable, be our interim. He is of the people who we were talking to, including Bob from Groton, and Brian, who's in Lunenburg. Dana's the one who can commit to coming in and having hours in town hall. The other guys kind of wanted to be able to do it kind of remotely, and I think that would be more of a help. But both Bob and Brian have agreed to help us if we need them. So Dana, he's currently the building commissioner in Dunstable. He's been there since 1986, so he's got a lot of experience. He's also the alternate commissioner in Pepperell right now. He was the Navy Construction Battalion back in the late 60s and early 70s. He's got a lot of construction experience. He has all the appropriate licenses.
So Bob from Groton, and I just overheard a conversation that one day he was on the phone with somebody, and he's mentioned that he's reached out to town hall many a times, I think to your office and to downstairs, and he has no response. He kind of took a stance. Words I heard is, they don't want to call me back. I ain't got no time for them. So where does that stand? So has he reached here, or has?
I've had meetings in this room with Bob multiple times.
Okay, and what is the reason?
Well,
Because he says he'd be more than happy to come. What I'm hearing, and I'm hearing on another side of the phone where the conversation was going on, and I was like, I didn't say a word. I just shut up, and the two people had their conversation, but that isn't what I'm hearing.
Well, so I had a meeting with Bob. Bob wanted to, my hope was that I was going to come to a kind of a permanent solution. But Bob wasn't interested in it as a permanent solution. He was just offering to do what Roland was already doing, which is be the interim while we continue to look for someone. So, I didn't pursue Bob because we already had Roland, who already was familiar with the staff here, who was already in the building, was already doing that job.
As it stands right now, we have no building inspector.
So technically, Roland hasn't completely stopped, but for all intents and purposes going forward, we don't have a building commissioner. So I was trying to evaluate I have no person who's willing to do it kind of as yes, this is going to be my job. I'm going to be your building commissioner.
So what is he offering to do?
He's offering to come in Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for $35 an hour plus, which is very low, plus mileage. Not from his house to here, but as he's driving around town.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, repeat that, not portal to portal?
Yeah, not from his house, but from as he's coming for inspections.
Yeah, he's here, runs around.
Yeah, as he's here, for as long as we need him to do it until we find somebody permanent.
So how many hours a week is he gonna put in?
We're probably talking about 6 to 10. Depending on, I mean, it's all gonna depend on need. We're coming up to a point now when building permits really slow down in January and February.
And we continue on looking
And
for,
we continue looking for a permanent solution.
And we talked, you were gonna see about teaming up with another town. How's that working?
Not great. I mean, people are very parochial and people already have somebody in place. So like, for instance, Ashby's got a person in place who's part-time who doesn't want any more hours. Pepperell's got a person in place who's full-time who can't handle any more hours. So like, ideally, maybe Ashby and Pepperell and Townsend would have two full-time people between the three of us that could do everything. That would be great. But that involves getting rid of the two people who they already have. And that they don't have an appetite for that right now. The problem is that regional approach, got to have a partner who's at the same position where they're ready to move. Lunenburg, the guy's got he's full-time in Lunenburg. He can't take on he doesn't want a permanent gig of more hours. He's willing to help us out, but he doesn't want to do it permanently, and he doesn't have a second. You know, so I have other towns that I need to call. I'm going to call some other towns. You know, I'm going to stretch out my extent a little bit further to see if any other towns that maybe are a little bit further away might have someone who might be willing to do it. But we're, you know, kind of a regional approach requires us to rethink some things. And I'll push Andrew a little bit more about Pepperell, because I think if what we could just get is get Pepperell and us just to split a commissioner and a licensed person who wasn't at commissioner level, that would probably save us both a little bit of money, because right now we're trying to both have commissioners, and we just had one that could go back and forth with somebody else who could do inspections, could save us some money. But I just don't know if you know, if Andrew's willing to go that way. Right now he's got one guy.
well, I just think, go ahead, Teresa.
I'm sorry. You know, Thursday morning, half-hour check-in, the community group that we have with all the local communities on Thursday mornings. Could that be we bring up there?
I mean, I can certainly ask them. It's not you know, that the people who are there are not necessarily the town administrators who know this stuff.
Okay.
Some of them they have different positions in the town where they wouldn't interact with the building commissioner or know how that would necessarily work. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to put it on Stam, quite frankly, and just say, hey, anybody have a part-time commissioner who is looking for 15 or 20 extra hours, and, you know, working as a commissioner, or is willing to go in partnership to hire a full-time guy between two communities.
Yep. We need to be strategic in regards to what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible if the person lived in the right place, we could even partner up with a town that's like not close, you know. But I mean, if the guy lived
Not close.
so yeah, like 40 miles away, if somebody lived 20 miles away and they were already commuting that way 40 miles, and another day they're going to commute this way 20 miles, like, who cares? Like, I haven't done that, obviously, because I don't have any relationships, but I can do it through Stam and see if there's any, because it's going to be a small town that's going to want to do this. It's not going to be.
I agree with you, and we just need to be strategic. So I think your plan right now is a good plan. It is a temporary fix to a much more complicated problem than.
Yeah.
You gotta have somebody. We need somebody, yeah.
Yes, we have to, because of what we've got going on in the town.
Right. The other benefit of Dana is he already uses permanent length in Dunstan.
Oh, good, okay.
So he'd be coming into the same, whereas the other people I'm talking about would need to be trained on permanent length. They don't use it in their towns. They use a separate permitting software.
Plus, and we need to move forward. With
and he knows Janet.
Okay, good.
And so it wouldn't be a learning curve with staff. He's been around the area for a while, and
So I'm good with it.
I'm good with it.
Are you good with it, Teresa?
Yes, I am.
There you go.
would you be willing to make a motion to appoint Dana Barnes as the interim building commissioner?
So moved.
I'll move.
Seconded.
Second.
We've second, third, and fourth that one. All right, all those in favor?
Teresa A. Marsh, yes?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
And
Got
that's,
that off your plate.
that's my list. Thank you very
That was
much.
your last one.
Yeah, I was about to say,
I'm like,
I spoke now and now I forever hold my peace.
All right, so do I have your permission, sir, to go to 5.2 now? Reports
wish.
from boards and liaisons, general government.
So, we'll start with energy. We, did get the paperwork in to get the green communities. It always seems to go down to the last day. Chaz, I greatly appreciate you, making sure that got signed and, got in successfully. I don't know how quickly that gets turned around, but we got it in. We got all the numbers. Just so that you know, we submitted it like 3 or 4 times, but it was always like this extra piece or that piece or whatever, that
That's
we have.
typical though, Teresa. That's
Yeah.
pretty
I know.
typical, and we all run in and have to sign it and, do blow smoke signals out back but we get it in, we always get it in on time.
But I do like to also, I want to make sure I thank you, but I also like to thank Sabrina and Eric for the effort that they did to help get that, coordinate that, because it was a little bit above and beyond, it seemed, this year. So I just want to make sure that, as part of the Energy Commission, that they wanted to make sure that, they acknowledged that they appreciated the effort to get that in.
Good, okay, thank you.
And that's all I have finance. We have the next finance meeting was this morning at 9:30 and I wasn't able to attend, but I am gonna get the meeting minutes and follow up. I do have a follow up on just, reviewing the minutes. I'll confirm on that. But we do have the agenda for the entire, we have 4 meetings scheduled for capital planning, and those are all set. Those agendas are all set. The Zoom links are all good, and those are ready to go. We're just delaying starting that until after the January 9th review, because that's the date that Eric has said that he needs to get the budgets back. So it doesn't make sense to do capital planning before they submitted their budget. Kind of cart horse thing you were talking about it earlier, Eric. I mean, Chaz.
Yeah.
So those are good to go.
Good job. Elected boards. I did meet with the Historic District Commission, and Teresa, if you could, when you start working with them, they're gonna need help with, they wanna submit a budget, and they have never had a budget before. So if you can work with Eric to, figure out what they need to do. They're just looking for a small budget to cover some of their costs, mainly, when they do have a public hearing, they don't have any fund of money to be able to do that. They might need some resource sharing, like paper for printing and that kind of stuff. And they're not looking for a lot of money. They said, maybe 150, 200. I said, just go for 1,000 and go from there. It's not like it's gonna be a big deal. So if you can kind of help them in the right direction, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I have a question that you made me think about, and I forgot I meant to ask. I was it was reached out to me if I could write the annual town report for energy, but I didn't think that was appropriate, but I don't know. Wouldn't that have to come from, I'm just a liaison, wouldn't that,
Right.
I can help with it, right? But they
Yeah.
should, okay, I just wanted to.
Yeah, they, for the housing authority, I've always helped them write it anyway, because I've been doing that for 8 years. But I wouldn't think that part of a liaison function would be to even remotely write that.
Okay.
Your input would be important, but not.
Right, yeah, I said I'd be more than willing to help them, but I didn't think it would be appropriate, it came from me, so.
Right.
They had no problem with that either, so I just wanted to make sure maybe I misunderstood, so.
No, we're there to answer questions.
You do it
As an
so,
individual only.
As an individual only.
As an
right?
individual.
I am not the
only.
board.
Yeah, that's what I said 6,000 times in the last meeting. So elected boards, I am working with a couple other ones, in regards to, some particular issues, i.e. I've been assisting with the, MBTA communities, really kind of more like a figurehead, just helping them move stuff forward and, how for them to be able to move it forward more quickly. I've also been in consult with, some planning board things, that have been going down. I will say that they're really, it's nice to see the land use office and in the whole, all the pieces are together and they're moving forward, and it's just really nice to see. You know, especially when I first started, Joe, we had some issues with a couple of the boards, and, you know, it's just nice to see that they're all doing what we need to do. And that is the most important thing for me anyway, when I first ran for office for selectmen, was that the boards and committees need to work together, and the Board of Selectmen needs to do Board of Selectmen stuff and let the boards and committees do what they need to do. And that is really nice to see.
And just to mention, that our new conservation agent started yesterday.
Good.
So she's.
With their computers up and running, right? Good, okay.
And so that means we now, once again, have a full staff over the land use office, which is great.
Excellent. Excellent, because we've got a lot of stuff that's going down.
Important things.
We need those eyes. And that's all I got. What do you got for public safety, Joe?
Public safety, it's kind of, you know, police departments. We spoke last week. They had a few things that we brought to the agenda. They have the Toys for Tot drive that they're doing. They have the Given Tree that is at the police station, the North Middlesex Given Tree. So that's just running along pretty smooth. Fire department, we discussed a couple of the issues that he wanted brought forward. They came, surplus in some of the equipment, plus, you know, a little update on the rescue truck that they bought. It's in the process of getting that ready to start outfitting it. They're gonna do what they gotta do to at least get it up and running.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they do want to see that, you know, we do, you know, eventually get it funded, and I think we can do that. But Mr. Shepherd understands that they truly have got a lot from the town and the fire department side, so, you know, we gotta make sure we spread that around to the different departments so everybody is getting their fair share.
Okay. We do, if you could be so kind as to talk a little more with, both, the chiefs in regards to, I'm gonna need space in their, rack for our WAN project that we're working on. It was, haphazard when Guardian went out to look at them. They said, nobody told me that they were coming, but we really need to get nailed down because we sent in, proposals that we're looking at. So I
I
need to.
did have that conversation. This is the second time I've had it, because after it happened, I heard that, you know, they went there and nobody knew anything about it. I did speak with the police chief, I did speak with the fire chief, and they both said, all they have to do is just, whatever day they're coming, reach out to either one of them chiefs and they will guarantee somebody will be there to take care of what the needs are.
Okay, so I'm gonna be reaching out to them individually. I'm letting you know, just because I need to let them know that we're looking for space in a rack wherever their cable is coming in, that we need to put a box in. Once we get that box in, we're gonna be able to, give them redundancy. Whatever they wanna use it for is completely up to them, but I need to put some equipment in
The
there.
words that I was told is, fire chief said, whoever is gonna be involved, whoever they have, call him directly. The police chief, same thing, and they will make sure when somebody gets at that building, they'll know what's going on.
Okay, so there we have it.
Now we have it.
5.3, announcements and communications. Teresa, you said you had something?
You're muted, Teresa.
That's good. You're muted.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah, sorry. I think, it was sent forward, it might be in the package, but there is a appeal to look for female veterans, and I'll make sure that I'm trying to get it posted on the webpage. And Natalie Cole knows about it as well, but there's a big push right now to called Repel, and it's to try to reach out to females veterans, make sure that they're aware of the service available to them through the Women's Veteran Network, the VA's Women's Health Services, which are separated from the men's health services. I don't know a lot of the women veterans realize that they can insist on female providers. If female providers aren't available, you can still get your free health care through the VA, but they would send you into the community, and you can end up getting your health care from a community provider at no charge, no co-pays, no anything. So we want to just make sure you're aware of this, and the best way to do that is, you have any question, reach out to our veteran agent, Natalie Cole, Cole, I'm getting there, and she will take care of you.
Okay. So can we make sure that Harrison gets this so he can put it up on the website? And we can take care of that, Teresa, for you.
Thank you very much.
And I didn't see anything else in there. Did you have anything else?
I don't believe so.
Joe, did you have anything? All right, so our next meeting looks like it's Tuesday, January 9th at 2024 at 6 o'clock PM. I think you're not gonna be here, right?
I won't be, I'll zoom in though.
Okay, you'll Zoom.
From wherever you are,
Where will you be?
right here,
Yeah.
on January 9th,
Well,
right?
I'll let you know where I am.
And then we don't need our meeting tomorrow.
So we'll cancel tomorrow.
So we're canceling tomorrow's meeting, all right? And we'll pick it up as before. We'll figure out when we,
Maybe the second we can do the,
yeah. we can
or
do it
the
on the
third,
second.
I mean, the third.
Okay, I'm okay. That's good. All right, that'll give us a little break.
A little break.
And then 5.5, I'll entertain a motion to review and sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Teresa A. Moore, yes.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian. It's a free-for-all for the next item.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:54.
So moved.
Second. 7:57. Correction. I'm looking sideways, a little glare up there.
All those in favor?
Teresa A. Moore, yes.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes. Thank you very much.